this conversation this woman was having, she was a Samaritan woman. And the Samaritans are technically Jews, but they're from a different line. And so at that particular time, the kingdom was split. And so they had their mountain where they worshiped, right? And then the Jews, or Judah, had their mountain where they worshiped. Well, Jesus said that a time was coming where it's not going to be about Jerusalem. It's not going to be about this mountain or that mountain, but that you were going to have to worship God in spirit and in truth. You're going to have to worship God based upon the way he desires to be worshiped. Now watch this. He said, you don't know what you worship. He's explaining to us what he means by spirit and in truth. The first thing is, you got to know why you're worshiping. He said salvation is of the Jews. So often people are worshiping God for some things that God doesn't want worship for. God wants you to get to the point where you can understand what he's done in your life. True worship is a worship that has an understanding of what God has done in your life. He said salvation was of the Jews. He said, we know what we worship. We know what God saved us from. We know about Egypt. We know how he brought us out. We know about the Red Sea. We know about Jericho. We know about the things that God has done in our life. And so often we are worshiping God for stuff that God ain't got nothing to do with. He's like, you know what? That ain't even me. What I need you to worship me for is the fact that I came into your life. And if I did not come into your life, when I came into your life was going to be a real mess. You was going to mess up some folks. You was going to destroy some things. There was some stuff that was never going to change. There was some things that were going to happen to you that you would not have been able to come back from. But I stepped into your life at the right time, and I deserve your worship. I deserve your praise. I deserve the glory for it. And so when you're worshiping him, you're worshiping him for what he's truly done, for what he's truly done in your life. Not the things that you hope for him to do, not the things that you want for him to do, but what he's already done. And see, when true worshipers begin to worship God in spirit, they connect to God in a place where God is God and all by himself. He don't need to do nothing for you because you already know that he brought you out of darkness into his marvelous light. He took you from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of the Son of his love. He delivered you out of the hand of the enemy, and now you live for him. Somebody's got to worship him in spirit and in truth. See, that's a true worshiper. A true worshiper don't need an organ. A true worshiper don't need a band. A true worshiper don't need a worship leader. A true worshiper will be driving in their car, and they'll lift up their hands, and they'll just worship. They're nearly wrecked because I think of the goodness of Jesus and all that he's done for me. My soul cries out, hallelujah. Thank God for saving me. There's got to be people that can look back over their life and say, God, you were there. You were in the midst of that situation. You were in the midst of that trial. See, that's a true worshiper. That's a true worshiper. And he's looking for people who don't need all this other stuff. They just want me. If I had more time, I would begin to talk to you about the people that God touched and it changed their life. There was a man that was standing outside the temple, and he was lame for his entire life. And Paul and John and James came upon him as they were going to prayer, and they stopped right there as they were getting ready to go to prayer. And the man was begging for alms, and they said to him, silver and gold I have not, but what I have I give to you. Pick up your bed in the name of Jesus and walk. And the Bible says that that man began to jump and leap and praise God. The folks got mad and they wanted to know what happened to this man. There's people in the Bible that were so in love with God that they got to the place where they didn't care about what anybody thought. Or anybody say there was a man named Barnabas, and he was sitting by the side of the street, and he was crying out. He said, Son of David, have mercy on me. Son of David, have... They said, quiet down, man. Jesus is trying to do some work here. He's trying to preach a sermon. He's trying to talk to some people. But he says, Son of David, have mercy. And the Bible said that Jesus touched him and cured his eyes and gave him sight. And he began to worship him. I gotta go.
Hallelujah.
Listen. We have to become those true worshipers. A spirit-filled church is a church full of true worshipers that worship God in spirit and in truth. That they're the kind of people, listen y'all, that it don't take a whole lot. It don't take a whole lot. They can just go and they can just worship. It doesn't matter. They just worship him no matter where they are, no matter what they're going through. They're worship in their spirit. And they'll walk into a very desperate situation, and out of their belly still flow worship. David said, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make its boast in the Lord, and the humble are going to hear it and be glad. He said, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good, and let us exalt his name together. He said, oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt him together. He said, this poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and delivered him out of all his troubles. You drop down to verse 19, and he said, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord shall deliver them out of them all. Only a worshiper has that type of outlook on life. When you don't have worship in your spirit, everything is negative. Everything is over. Everything is done. Everything is a mess. But when worship takes over, even when the afflictions come, you still have a worship. Even when the problems come, you still have a praise. Even when the issues come, you still elevate the Lord in your life. You still have a praise on your lips no matter what it is. You tell your soul bless the Lord at all times. God, I wish I had some true worshipers. Some folks that'll take the worship out of this building and spill it over into the streets. That'll spill it over into your family. That'll spill it over into your neighborhoods. That'll spill it over into your workspace. The worship of God just be lifted up all over the world. And then we'll see. I told somebody yesterday, I said, I looked at a stat that just broke my heart. He said 2% of regular church attenders, only 2% have ever led anyone to Christ. 2%. We're in the men's group and we're talking about it. 2%. Now 2% is a lot, because there's billions of Christians all over the world. And so 2% might be a couple of million. But what if 10%? What if it was 20%? What if it was 25%? Do you think this city would look different? Do you think certain people's homes would look different? Oh my God. And see, what happened on the day of Pentecost is 120 folks came up out of a upper room, 100%. Every single one of them opened up their mouth and began to declare the wonderful works of God. And it started a movement that caused 3,000 to give their life to Christ. Then by Acts chapter 5, another 5,000 gave their life to Christ. And then right after that, there was a number that nobody can number. It was just a multitude. They couldn't even count them no more. It was so many. And it's because everybody was on fire for God. They went from every house preaching the gospel and praising God and giving him glory. I wish we could send you out of here right now and to change this world, not just to go about today and eat lunch and go to the movies, but I pray that you have a praise on your lips that will transform a nation. Hallelujah. Lift your hands and say, Lord, fill us up and send us out. Lift your hands and say, fill us up and send us out. Come on, fill us up and send us out. Come on, say it, fill us up. Come on, make it your prayer this morning. Fill us up and send us out, God.